On the way up to this presentation stage, I sort of took a punt that you've already made your mind up if you're going to like the presentation or not. Going back to the emotional brain piece, I was lucky enough to attend a course a couple of weeks ago that covered exactly that. You know, the emotion of the sales cycle. 15 steps it took me to walk up there. It would take the normal person 9. I'm slightly shorter, but you've already decided whether you would have enjoyed what we're going to talk about for the next 18 minutes. Who's recently bought a washing machine? Top man, thank you very much. We'll come back to that. I want to cover that one off later. 4:36 yesterday afternoon. I'm sitting at home. Surface open, email comes in. Doesn't look right. It's just not quite right. Doesn't resonate with me. Signature's not in the right place. Logo's missing from the bottom. My name's not in the to line. So I contact Microsoft GSOC, Global Security Operations Center. Sure enough, it was a phishing email. Someone had been hacked. The email had gone to 1,300 people, a lot of the people inside Microsoft. The reason why we weren't nervous is that when we receive phishing emails, anything that is inside that phishing content, we cannot open. It gets put into a sandbox, exploded, and then if it's nasty, we're shielded from it. So we're protected from all of the bad stuff. But it just proves to me, when you hear comments like the head of the CIA in America saying that we're in a cyber war with cyber threats and we are not winning, makes you realize that security should be top of mind for all of us in whatever we do. My wife had the same experience. She works for a college near Guildford, and she showed me the email, and I said, don't open it. Notify your IT team, see what they think it is, let them deal with it, but just don't do anything with that email. But it nearly caught me out. You know, I was sitting there, just little pointers stacking up through the email that gave me that insight. So we all have to be vigilant because, you know, this stuff comes at us at any time, and there were 421 million bits of malware that hit the internet in 2016. That's a huge number. That is something like 300 a second. So that shows you that security is top of mind. It is a CEO issue, but it's not a CEO responsibility. It's all of our responsibilities in my book. You wouldn't walk out the front door of your house, chuck the keys under the flower pot, and go, well, if we get broken into, it's not my problem. So security is definitely top of mind for everyone. Coming back to the washing machine. Washing machine died, ordered a new one, went on 4 different websites and ordered one. Amazing service. It was delivered the next day. 2 really nice guys who put it in position and plumbed it in, got it working. Fantastic service. Then the trouble started. Not with the washing machine, though. With the relentless hounding on browsers of washing machine adverts. Absolutely unprecedented, I kid you not. I was in Facebook, banner advert, did I want to buy an Indesit washing machine? Went into LinkedIn, came back out, did a bit of browsing, Indesit advert, do you want to buy an Indesit washing machine? No, I've just bought one. And it's a nice one and it works fine, so leave me alone. Takes me back to a change I did in my career about 3 years ago. I've been in sales and partner sales for most of my life. And I went into product management, product marketing management to be exact, for Skype for Business. And as part of that role, I was lucky enough to go on some courses that took me through marketing and digital marketing, marketing automation. Now, they say that karma's a bitch. I think the washing machine experience was something designed to come and bite me on the backside because I'd done that product marketing role. If you think about some of the stats that says, walking up here, you've emotionally decided whether you're going to enjoy the presentation. But more importantly, people are 55% of the way through the buying cycle before they want to hear from someone. Now, I work in partner. I go out for Microsoft and I recruit partners. So some of the conversations that we have with partners is, what does your customer engagement journey look like? Do you simply steer them to a website and go, have a demo? Or do you nurture them? Now, for those of you, I think the website might still be in existence. For those of you that remember Match.com, I met my wife on Match.com. The thing that stood out for me was that her introduction on the top line was, I'm really not that scary. Not the best introduction she could have done, admittedly, but she's a great wife, she's a lovely woman. But I didn't suddenly just go out on one date with her and married her. It was a journey, as lots of things are in life. So why is buying technology any different? Nurture people. One of the things that I really learned through that experience is that the word nurture means nurture. Who plays Monopoly? Who plays the bespoke town version of that game? Let's say Guildford. There's a Guildford version. I didn't know that. Put your hands up, Monopoly players again. Thank you. Nurture journeys are like a game of Monopoly. You go round the board. You get to 3 moves before go. No, because you're on the tax bracket then. 4, still on Park Lane. And then you can go through and you progress to the next stage. You collect your £200 and you progress to the next stage. Nurture journeys are the same. Put a piece of content in front of me that's relevant. Let me read it. Don't mind how many analytics you do on me. That's absolutely fine. But then please take me to the next piece of relevant stuff. And take me through the journey and make it enjoyable, because it's the back part of my head that makes the decision, not the front part, and then I will probably buy something from you. So you can imagine that as Microsoft has transitioned to being a cloud business, we are very, very focused on getting customers to use Office 365 Microsoft technologies. But the way in which we've done this has been flipped on its head. We have a huge customer success unit now, and their job is to go out and not sell. Their job is to go out and simply prove the benefits of using products to achieve an outcome. So I mentioned that my wife works at a college. I'm sitting there the other night. She teaches a class of 17 children. 4 of those children are high needs learners. There are 3 learning support assistants assigned to what my wife does in the class. I showed her a feature in PowerPoint that's coming out. I think it's actually been launched. It's the transcription service in PowerPoint. We downloaded it, put it in her PowerPoint client. I started speaking. Fantastic. The text came up on the screen. Oh my God, it's amazing. Imagine what that could do for these poor children that are hard of hearing, that are trying to focus on all of the noise in the classroom and listen to the content that the teacher is speaking at the front of the class. So Danny tried this. She put a headset on. She's standing at the front of the class. She's got a touch mute button because clearly she just wants these people to listen to what she's saying that's relevant. They get their mobile device. They aim it at the screen. They flash the QR code. And sure enough, they're getting the text on the mobile phone. Now, that's a cloud-based service. That's actually going into PowerPoint. It's going all the way back to Dublin, to the Dublin data center, or it's going to Amsterdam, because they are the 2 data centers that sit inside the EU. So by doing this, we're adhering to all of the European security and privacy laws, and we're delivering real value and benefit to some people that could really do with it. I don't know whether you remember, but 2.5 years ago, there was an advert for Skype on TV. And it was an English guy, an English cameraman, a photographer, who was speaking to a Chinese friend of his. And the demonstration was, English person speaks, Skype translator converts to Mandarin text, it appears on the screen, and they are talking. There are tears in the eyes of both of them, because for years they'd fumbled a friendship communication, but they were close friends. So it just shows you that way back then, we were gathering intel and insights from nearly 500 million Skype users. Anonymized data, anonymized usage, but what were we actually doing? That service was the predecessor of the service that is now in PowerPoint as the transcription service. Because what we were doing is using back-end machine learning and AI and all of the modern things to actually gather the data to build a library of relevant content that could be used across the entire product set. So 2 examples there. 1, using it in Skype for translation services. 2, featuring PowerPoint. Now, I sort of came up here with the premise that I was going to talk about bots, but bots have been a journey, and they will continue to be a journey. Some great examples from all of us, I think, about how bots are changing the workplace. But I want to focus on the back of the head again, the emotional piece. I am petrified. Anyone who says bots won't have an impact on the employment world, I question that. I listened to Radio 4 the other day. There was an article. 3D printing has been proposed by an architect in London to build the next space station that's going to go to Mars and beyond. 3D printing. The bit that I find really interesting is that coming back from that far-reaching conversation, the interviewer then came back to something that's real world, house building. Apparently, we're lagging behind the world for 3D printing of houses. We are way behind the world for 3D printing of houses. Here's the crux of the comment, and I swear, if you were a sane human being, you would have realized what you'd said at this point. So does that mean we're not going to need bricklayers anymore? Wow. Imagine that comment on Radio 4 at 4:20 in the afternoon that then gets played at 8 o'clock in the evening. You're sort of painting a picture. We're being sort of bombarded with some really negative news. Everyone's saying that jobs will change, jobs will do this, and jobs will do that. But let's face reality. I have a phrase that I use because bots are something that need to be trialed, developed, and then deployed. And everyone talks about this phase of the digital assistant. But if I was a human being, let me ask one more question. Who's got a mortgage? That is a choice question. I'm not a mortgage advisor, so don't feel you have to answer. But, we're looking and we're working out how we're going to pay off our mortgages, sustain our lifestyle at a time when we're having retirement ages move forward. We're going to be working till we're 70. So it's hardly surprising that the rear of the head is going into the fear mode. How are we going to finish off paying our mortgages if all this technology is coming along? Because at the end of the day, you can turn around and say, is this really a digital assistant, or is it actually a digital assassin? Now, I get to work for the biggest software company in the world, which I take as a massive, massive pleasure. So I am a custodian of making sure that the messaging that lands at street level is absolutely crisp and is relevant to society. Microsoft employs about 10,000 data and AI specialists to develop the product set. But above all, we live by the mantra that Satya Nadella puts out in all of the earnings call speeches, all of the presentations that he's done, that we are democratizing AI for the good of the planet. Now, in line with that, one of the things that we've done this year, in January, we launched the Digital Skills Initiative. And the reason why we did that is that we are 30,000 people short in the UK of people that have relevant digital skills. But I would argue, and I would say, that nearly the whole country is sort of short on some digital skills. We can all use a laptop. But what we're finding very much is that people are starting to code, build things, write things, make things happen. I take full responsibility. I do the same. I use Microsoft Teams, and I use the bot framework to actually build stuff that does things. 2 examples. Who's heard of Kayak, flight booking system, flight booking site? So from within my Teams interface on any device, I can go into the kayak bot and I can inquire about a flight. I can then come back into Teams and I may have set up 2 virtual machines to do some test and dev. Instead of having to go into the user interface of Azure, I can actually go into Teams and go turn off these 2 machines. So I think there's a lot that bots can do that is massively good. But I come back to one level before that, which says, I really passionately feel that it is on us to start changing for the 4th revolution, for the digital revolution. It's going to hit us, it's going to impact us, and if all we do is learn how to do a bit of coding and set up a bot, then that's a massive step forward. Because once we understand how to do things, we can understand the impact of things, and we can understand the outcomes of things. Now, we've seen some great examples of bots, all of the customer service stuff, all of the interaction stuff that we've spoken about in the room today. I tend to like to keep things really simple. So my Kayak bot for me and my Azure bot for me are just the ones that I use with customers. Because if we're custodians of taking customers on a digital transformation journey, we have to be the custodians of their well-being and the outcome of that transformation. And the last thing I would like to see is people being made redundant as a result of a digital revolution. So we're being put on notice that the revolution is coming, but we're also being given the biggest opportunity ever to learn some new skills and be relevant to a world that's going to start evolving faster than we've ever seen it. Just to finish off, I was with someone yesterday and there was a panel debate, and the person sitting here said, Microsoft is in the middle of its digital transformation. The person at the end said, I'm going to correct you, Microsoft will never finish being in the middle of its digital transformation in the same way that every company that wants to exist in 10 years' time will never stop being in the middle of its digital transformation, because it's here to stay and it's evolving faster than it ever has done. So just to finish off, appealing to the back part of the head again, Satya's mantra is to democratize AI for the good of the planet. It's something that we can all be involved in with the toolkits that we put out, and we can learn those things. But I think above all, I have a hashtag, which is hashtag dream big, have fun. And that's really what I want to leave you with. Please have a look at the Microsoft website. We do a load of learning tools. Please have a look at the Digital Skills Initiative website, because there's a whole load of programs there that we're doing and putting out to the marketplace. But I actually think we're just about to start entering a massively transformational and fun time with technology. So on that note, I finish. Thank you very much.